Minnesota sports fans, we know all too well how it feels to sign up for a lifetime of purple pain. Welcome to Before We Die with Jesse and Thor on Purple Daily and Score North.
Good evening, everybody. This is Purple Daily's Before We Die on Score North. I'm Jesse Pierce, getting ready to go to a Minnesota Wild hockey game, going to woo Connor McDavid to come here, be a part of the Minnesota Wild because, oh my goodness, you guys, McDavid and Kaprizov, amazing. But you know what? Forget hockey for a minute. Again, I am all on the Vikings train. This is my thing. This is my jam. I love it. I'm also here just to rattle Thor a little bit by bringing some knowledge, bringing some hot takes. Some might say that's selfish of me, kind of like Kyler Murray selfish. I don't know. Some might suggest it's a little selfish, but here we are. Thor, he's been a purple passioner for quite some time, his whole life pretty much. He's bringing the positivity. Are you going to be able to bring some positivity today, Thor?
I'm going to try. Absolutely. We're going to bring some.
That's good. And Ross over here produces this darn thing. We love to have him. Ross, you are a Minnesota Vikings fan. Why and how has this year been extra special and different for you?
Well, I'm a Vikings fan because typically the pain of being a Vikings fan lets me know that I'm still alive. However, there's been very little pain this year, which makes me oh so happy. And a few housekeeping items right off the bat on this edition of Before We Die. Jesse, is it already time? Sorry for all the bells ringing here in the background. Is it already time for an obligatory fantasy football mention?
I did.
Obligatory fantasy football mention.
Also, right out of the gate, I was at a work event last night, ran into a gentleman named Caleb, big fan of Purple Daily and Before We Die. So hello, Caleb. Thank you for your support.
Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to Patrick Peterson calling out my fantasy quarterback, Kyler Murray, calling
Obligatory fantasy football mention.
Calling him quote unquote selfish. I find that to be false because he has not been selfish in getting me any points, hardly at all this fantasy football season. It's
obligatory fantasy football mention.
Let's just hit that for 30 minutes.
It's been a detriment to my entire team. I've lost confidence. I've lost confidence in him. I wish he would study more. I don't know what to say about it. Guys, do you have any comments on the quote unquote drama between Patrick Peterson and Kyler Murray, as it said?
Peterson played with him for a couple years, and he's a vet. I'm going to trust his word over someone who's never met the guy before. You have to.
Is it bad that I didn't really know about the drama till I'm not joking about 10 minutes before we recorded when I happened to see a story on it?
I live for some of that drama. It's like Real Housewives of the NFL. I mean, it's kind of fun once in a while. Just
let's be honest. The NFL is a reality TV show for the most part.
Exactly. Let's talk some NFL. Let's talk some Minnesota Vikings who are going up against the New York Jets. Laughable. We shouldn't laugh, but I'm going to laugh a little bit. Always respect your opponent. Just have very minimal respect for the New York Jets right now. Jets are going to Jets. Guys, how are we feeling about the game? It sounds like Christian Darrisaw still not likely to return just yet, but on the positive injury news, it looks like we might get a return in Caleb Evans, and Dalvin Tomlinson. So that's going to be great.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I feel pretty decent about this matchup, honestly. And the defense, like you mentioned, they're getting close to 100% again. Only Dantzler, I think, is going to be out for this game. Well, most teams got a guy out. The Darrisaw, it seems like he's going to be out as well for the offense. But this is not for the Vikings tackles. This is not as hard of a matchup as a couple of the past ones because the Jets do not have as good of edge rushers as, for instance, the Patriots with Judon or the Cowboys with Parsons and company or whatever, where the Jets, their strength, it's on the interior defensive line. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit because that's something that could potentially give the Vikings a little bit of trouble. But I think overall the Vikings match up pretty well here. And I think Mike White, who was riding high after ripping up 10 backups that were playing for the Bears last week, I think he's going to get a bit of a reality check this weekend.
You know, obviously the one thing you're going to have to look out with the New York Jets, mostly our boy Justin Jefferson, will be Sauce Gardner. First of all, fantastic name. Can we just
great name
cross that out as so good. Obviously Vikings fans loved it, but how is Jefferson going to match up with Gardner there? Do you think it's going to be a tough one for him?
Gardner is very good. He's one of the best cornerback prospects that's come into the league over the last decade. I still can't believe that the Texans took Derek Stingley over him. I was doing a live video hit and someone asked me about that like 2 days before the draft, and I literally started laughing because it was the most Texans thing of all time. But Sauce Gardner is very, very good. He's long, he's strong, he gets his hands on you, and he rides you downfield. But Justin Jefferson's got some tricks up his sleeve, and Justin Jefferson gets his release against anybody. This is going to be one of the trickiest matchups for Mr. Sauce Gardner that he has had in his career, probably the most tricky one, and it's a big test for him. But no, he ain't going to clamp down Justin Jefferson. No cornerback in the NFL can do that without help.
Well, and I'll be honest here, as the little teaser at the bottom says, our lower third graphic, Inside Ball Talk, I'm still trying to figure out, are the Jets contenders or pretenders in the context of being a playoff team, okay? Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest right away, I don't really care, the Sauce Gardner, Justin Jefferson thing. That's really cool. I'm more interested to see, to Thor's point, the Jets, look, Mike White has had some great starts for the Jets. It's only been a handful. He's not going to throw for 300 to 400 yards every game and make a mockery of the NFL. That's not going to happen. There's a reason why he's been on and off rosters and not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Now, are the Vikings the defense to make him look bad, befuddled, and perplexed? I don't know. But I also know if the U.S. Bank Stadium crowd brings it and the Vikings get off to a hot start, could make for a potentially long day for Mr. Mike White. Again, it's not even Zach Wilson, their prized quarterback. They've benched him for obvious reasons, and I guess he might not be their prized starting quarterback anymore if they're willing to bench him and the things that he said and doesn't really take or ownership or acknowledge any of his wrongdoings at this point. No. It's just, this has to be the week the Vikings win a game by more than one score. It just has to be. This is the matchup. Let's do it, boys. Skull, baby. Skull.
Let's go. The other name I do
want to... Skull. This is it, right, Thor? This is the game.
This is the game. We're gonna wipe the floor with the Jets. This is the game right here. This is the game right here.
Let's do it. I believe in you.
But by the way, I'm going to list the names to you of every Bear defender that played last week that had more than 2 tackles. Jack Sanborn, DeAndre Houston Carson, Nicholas Morrow, Jalen Johnson, Elijah Hicks, Justin Jones, Mike Pinnell Jr., Kendall Vidor, Armand Watts, our buddy, Eddie Jackson, who's actually good.
Friend alert.
Matthew Adams. Those are the defenders that were on the field for the Bears. People listening probably know 2 of those names. I mean, he ripped up the crappiest of defenses and the backups of the crappiest of defenses. Not concerned about Mike White whatsoever.
Are you concerned at all about Garrett Wilson? Through his first 11 games, has caught 49 passes for 628 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, fairly modest numbers, and obviously a lot of those catches coming from Zach Wilson. But 2 touchdowns last week's win over Chicago. He's probably their biggest offensive threat, I would say, coming into this week, eh?
Oh, I like the Canadian drop of A right there. You've been doing a lot of Canadian radio hits, haven't you?
It's so many Canadian radio hits. I can't even explain.
He's the one guy that you're concerned about on that team. You're not concerned about Mike White, who's been in the NFL for so long, and he hasn't done anything until he got to play the Bears backups on defense. Then their running back room is shot. Obviously, Breece Hall was awesome. Of course, Breece Hall pretty well.
Breece Hall, where'd he go to college?
He didn't go here. He went across the state from there. But he's out for the season. And then they had traded for James Robinson, and something weird. They inactivated James Robinson last week. I'm not actually really sure why. And now they're playing this undrafted free agent, Bam Knight from NC State. So we're not afraid of their run game either. It's literally just the receivers and primarily Garrett Wilson. He's going to be a test. I would expect the Vikings not to trail him with one guy, because I think they're going to do the thing with you have the one corner on the one side and the other guy on the other side, and just keep it that way. But Garrett Wilson assuredly is going to see some of Peterson. He's assuredly going to see some of Evans if Evans ends up playing, and maybe they even give him some snaps in the slot, and we might see some Sullivan as well. But he's the guy for the Vikings fans that we're concerned about for sure.
All right, enough of the Jets. Again, the concern very minimal for them coming in. I want to go back to our boy Justin Jefferson for the second time NFC Offensive Player of the Month for the month of November. 29 catches, 480 yards, 3 touchdowns through 4 games. November seems to be his bread and butter as well. Every year he seems to perform exceptionally well. And he also has more Pro Bowl votes than any other as of Monday, over 90,000 votes. I mean, guys, what else again, I think we say it every week, and I do believe it. right when we think we've probably peaked at Justin Jefferson, like he's doing great, he's doing this, he just continues to amass impressive numbers, impressive looks, and it's even more fantastic to see the NFL taking note as well.
Yeah, it's justified, and it's well deserved. And obviously he's going to be there, and the fans are going to vote him in. And we've been saying this since the preseason. He's the best wide receiver in football. Nobody draws the attention that Justin Jefferson does. Nobody has the catches that he does. And the production's the one thing, but just look at the attention the opposing defenses give him week in and week out. That's the opposing defensive coordinators telling you this is the guy who is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need a drop for obligatory Justin Jefferson praise? Maybe we may need that. Yeah, Jesse, it's kind of funny that maybe poetic when you asked that question, what else can we say? There was kind of a pause.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I mean,
there's nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah. At some point, the numbers back it up, right? I mean, you can always say, well, that's inflated because of this, or that's inflated because of this. Well, not with this guy. People are actively scheming to slow him down and stop him. And they're saying, stop him. That's how you stop the Minnesota Vikings. And they can't do it. Yeah, I don't know what more you can say other than I probably need to work on a sounder that says obligatory Justin Jefferson praise.
It's very true. I mean, why not? Toss it in there. I'm done talking about my crappy fantasy football team. I'm sorry, guys. I
really wish I was ready for that.
I figured you might.
Obligatory fantasy football mention.
It's crap.
You guys don't know how many screens I have to toggle through over here, okay? We can't all be... There's a reason why Declan, puts the chin strap up and goes out onto the field, and I just hold the clipboard.
It's true. I like making you work for it. Speaking of the Pro Bowl... First off, do we care? Second off, I'm going to say TJ Hawkinson, my Iowa Stater, Kenny Nwangu, long snapper Andrew DePaulo, and special teamers Chris Boyd, also in some solid contention, garnering quite a few votes. But do we care about the Pro Bowl? NFL trying something new this year. We'll see how it goes.
I'm starting to care more about the Chris Boyd campaign. Chris Boyd's been trying to rally Twitter to vote for him. And it appears that it's working. He was bribing people at the start of the thing. Like, if you vote for me, I'll send you a signed jersey and stuff like that. Then people got on his bandwagon. He's become like a meme stock, Chris Boyd. He's going to get voted in the Pro Bowl.
This is the same Chris Boyd who called all of you fans not very nice things at the beginning of the year, if we might recall. So just putting that out there.
Here's what I'll say, fans, let's do Chris Boyd a solid and let's help him out. So instead of him saying STFU, maybe he's just saying thank you. So let's all vote for Chris Boyd to go to these Pro Bowl games, which guys, I'll be honest, I'm actually the nerd that kind of enjoyed watching the Pro Bowl when it was AFC, NFC. And for the 1 year, remember about 10 years ago, Thor, maybe it was less than that. And Jesse, they threatened the players and said, look, if you guys don't take this seriously, the Pro Bowl is going to go away. And they actually tackled and had some light hitting for that year. And you go, okay, this is watchable. Then they immediately reverted back to nobody tackles. It's two-hand touch. They literally get near a running back and they stop. I despise that, so maybe I'll like these Pro Bowl games. But the issue here is this isn't like the other sports. You can't stop the season in the middle, take 2 weeks off and play a game. It's a violent game. You really can't have an all-star exhibition without the violence. Baseball, you can get away with it. Hockey, you can have a semblance of the game. It's a semblance. I'm not going to say it's the same, Jesse, but it's a semblance of the game. And basketball, the way the NBA is trending right now, I think there's actually regular season games that are more high scoring than the NBA All-Star game. But for football, you really probably can't play the game in any meaningful function. So I guess I'm mildly intrigued to see what the Pro Bowl games look like, I guess, but we've probably already spent too much time on it.
I'm never in on like the games of any of the All-Star elaborations, right? Like I don't like the hockey All-Star game. I like the skills competition. Yeah. That to me is just the best. And that's across even baseball, even basketball. Like I love the skills. I think that's so much fun to watch.
And that's basically what this is going to be, right? I haven't put a lot of work into what this is going to be. I'll be honest about it. But essentially that's what this is. It's skills
It's like a week-long competition for, to highlight each. So it does. That's what I would assimilate it to, would be more of a skills competition. So I'm excited for that because, like you mentioned, any sport, you can't do that because hockey does the same thing. They take a break in the middle of the season, and it's like, well, nobody wants to get hurt right now, so you're not going to go. You're not going to perform your best. It's just a throwaway game. Like it does. It seems silly. Maybe all sports should just adopt a skills competition, or you know what? Maybe throw out some of these fans and have them go against their idols and see what happens, right? Or maybe some members of the media, walk the walk, talk the talk.
No, let's not do that.
Let's do it.
Can you imagine
There's going to be lots of injuries and lawsuits.
Can you imagine if Before We Die superfan Chris Boyd got a chance to hit me on a field?
Or Judd. God, could you imagine just Judd out there? So good.
Judd playing like the slot receiver and catching a slant over the middle and just getting laid out.
There are times in the post-game press conferences with Dean Evson that I think Dean Evson wants to smoke Judd just right in the jaw, just like pop him right there. Yeah, it's fantastic. Thor, are you excited? I interrupted you on purpose, but are you excited about the Pro Bowl?
Oh, well, no, I'm just excited for Chris Boyd to be running around full speed like a bat out of hell when everyone else is treating it like a walkthrough. Chris Boyd's getting someone in. There was that one All-Star game back in the day where, like, wasn't it Pete Rose that, like, went full speed into home plate and plowed over the catcher and he, like, broke his ankle? I'm pretty sure. I could be totally misremembering this, but that's what I want to see from Boyd.
I'd have to find the contract and figure it out, but something tells me that Chris Boyd might have a Pro Bowl incentive in his contract. And they're just there might be one.
How many jerseys does the guy send out? He's got like 100,000 votes.
Yeah.
Has he signed 100,000 jerseys? I don't know what's going on.
I would like some sort of incentive like that in my contract.
Yeah, Chris, we'll push for you if you send us stuff to put up, in the back of our thing.
I could use it.
Hook us up.
Could use it.
Also, is Chris Boyd making enough money to send 100,000 jerseys?
Maybe they just give them to you for free. Who knows? Can you just
request them? I have seen, again, going back to hockey. Apologize, guys. I have seen players in the hockey lodge buying their jersey because I remember my brother.
You have to buy in the hockey lodge for like the $200 markup. The players themselves?
My brother was like, "Oh, you're buying your own jersey, huh?" And the player, I will not name him, was like, "It's for charity, you jackass."
Also, remember when Dalvin Cook, prior to this year, it was before last season, he was going to change his jersey number until he was told he had to buy out all the remaining inventory of his old number. And he's like, and second thought, I'll wait.
Perfect.
Love it. Love it. Well, guys, if your Minnesota Vikings beat the New York Jets this weekend and Jacksonville beats or ties the Detroit Lions, the Vikings will clinch the NFC North. That will be just the fourth time since divisional realignment in 2002 that a team has clinched a division with 5 weeks left. What does that mean to you guys? Again, we've talked about it. We talked about the health issue, but they'd still be to figure out how to leapfrog 2 games in order to get that number 1 spot. So even if you clinch, how much do you still go full throttle? What does that look like? Does clinching matter this week matter to you guys?
It warms my heart how irrelevant the Packers are. I just want to get that out of the way first. My second comment is, you got to keep going, right? Because you got to lock in the 2. You have to lock yourself into the 2 seed. Well, still the number 1 seed is still in play, right? Because the Eagles have the 1 loss, and the Eagles, man, they've been playing with fire over the last month. There's a couple times where they almost got bit. So if they lose a game, all of a sudden the thing could be tied. So Vikings got to keep going with it. But once you get to the week, is it 18 now, or they screwed all my numbers up I had in the game?
18. Yeah.
When you get to the last one, if you're locked into that 2 slot, that's when you toggle it back, start playing the backups in that one. But till then, full systems go, full throttle.
Yeah, clinching matters only in the sense that you're guaranteed at least your 1 home playoff game, and that anybody in your own division who makes the playoffs, which nobody is, they're going on the road the entire time. I agree with Thor 100%. You can't dial anything back until you can't go up any higher or you can't fall any lower. And again, I'll continue to say, there's still a fair amount that can happen, but logic would tell you more than likely the Vikings are going to be the number 2 seed. But you got to keep putting in the work to make that happen. And the first step is this week when they win by double digits or more over the New York Jets.
That's right.
That sounds like a hot take there that they're going to win by double digits. Speaking of hot takes, gentlemen, let's hear some Minnesota Vikings hot takes. I want your hottest takes. Viewers would love for you to drop your hot takes in the comments below. Want to see what you think. They don't have to be that crazy because it's hard. When they're this good, it's hard to pick something completely out of the box, right? Like you could say Justin Jefferson's going to win the offensive player for a 3rd time. Maybe that's your hot take. That was going to be my hot take, guys, but it's not anymore. I have since changed paths. So feel free to use that, Thor, if you don't have one. My hot take, you guys, the Minnesota Vikings will trade for a kicker before playoffs begin. I have names too, guys. I have names. You want to hear the names?
Please.
I do. Yep.
Austin Siebert. Yes, he didn't do very well at US Bank Stadium this year with the Lions, but he has made all 25 extra points in the last 13 games that he's played in the NFL.
Nice.
I like that. I like it,
that.
right? Nick Seba, Wake Forest legend, set all these records in the NCAA, was able to get into one game with the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Philadelphia Eagles. He also made 3 kick attempts, including one that was about 52 yards, as well as the extra points. I need a kicker that can make extra points. Is there a way that we can like Jimmy this where it's like, fine, you know what, Greg, you can go out and kick these longer ones. That's fine. And make those. We need somebody just to come in and get the extra, like a base runner, right? Like I need an extra point kicker type of thing. Can we also adopt that?
Yeah, the only issue with the deadline being passed is you're gonna have to sign a street free agent, right? So it's just like
these guys.
You know, I mean, what?
Guys.
Yeah. So you did the scouting. So if those guys, if they're the upgrade, let's do it. I'm co-signed.
The only thing that scares me is typically anybody who's been with the Cleveland Browns, and I believe Greg Joseph was also with the Cleveland Browns at one point, tends to have issues putting the ball through the uprights. But then again, Jesse, to kind of what we've talked about numerous times, almost any one of these kickers that's available has issues. So it is kind of, luck of the draw, a bit of a crapshoot. But I love this take because at some point, and maybe as we've talked about, the point will be if Greg Joseph ever costs them a game. But at some point, that's when the Vikings are going to look around and say, we can't have this anymore. But I also said that my gift in our most recent podcast, my gift from the Vikings was going to be that we would not miss any extra points in all of December. So I'm going to try and remain positive. But I do like where your head's at there, Pierce.
I'm filling in for you. I'm bringing that negativity to Greg.
Special assistant to the special teams whisperer?
Yes, adopt it.
Thor, what do you got?
Mine would be, it's something that I've talked about before, and they were starting to go this way, and then they've gone the other direction now, so I have to reaffirm. I want that 60-40 Delvin Madison split back. Whenever Madison's on the field, he's acquitting himself well, and I think it's fair to say that Delvin has lost the step. Like he has begun the decline phase of his career. And we have seen in the games where they have used that 60-40 split, you get the best of Delvin. And obviously you're getting the best reps of Madison as well. I just think that makes the team better. And it also improves the odds for Delvin, his viability when you're getting into January and beyond football. So do that, please.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you 2 mine, and then I want your feedback because I think mine could be perceived as harsh, but it's also holding this team to the high expectations that they have set for themselves. My Vikings hot take: anything less than an NFC Championship Game appearance at this point would be a disappointment. And here's the reason for that. I'll lay out the case. You're currently the number 2 seed, which logically tells you you're at least the second best team in the NFC. To get to the NFC Championship Game, if you stay at the number 2 seed, where are you playing those 2 games? At US Bank Stadium, a place you historically win at an incredibly high rate. One of those games is going to be against a team that is probably right at 9-8 or 10-7. Maybe the Commies. Heck, could even be Man Campbell's Detroit Lions if they keep going at this pace, which they're not. But I'm just using them to illustrate a point. You're going to get a favorable matchup, more than likely, in that first game. It would just be for the buy-in factor that the state seems to be taking on right now, getting behind this squad like they always do. It's a Vikings town. Whether they're 3-14 or 14-3, it's a Vikings town. But it's different when they're winning at the clip that they're winning at right now. It would be a disappointment not to at least appear in the NFC Championship Game. Fair or not?
Fair. Agreed.
Do they have to win it? Do they have to win it?
No, I think
not for the season to be considered a disappointment. I wouldn't say.
I would agree because for so long, and again, this was applicable mostly to the Minnesota Wild, but I would put it on any Minnesota sports team. We set the bar so darn low for all of these teams. Like for years for the Wild, it was like, let's just get to the playoffs. Let's just get to the playoffs. Why do we not want to get to the Stanley Cup? Why do we not say we want to do this? Like we need to, and I get it because we're hurt. We are hurt and we're scared exactly and we're terrified. However, this Vikings team is different. It's okay to say that now. It's okay to recognize that they are at 9-2 and doing so, as Ross mentioned, very well. Again, it gets a little dicey there. I would like a big win this weekend just to reconfirm, but it's not silly to set that bar and say, this is what you guys need to achieve because they are capable of getting there for all the reasons that Ross brought up. And because that's what they want. This is what Quasey envisioned, a competitive rebuild, right? This is exactly what that is. And so his goal and their goal should be minimum the NFC Championship. That should be the minimum. And obviously the max is you want to party with the Lombardi. So
yes,
I say let's vocalizing it. I'm sweating a little bit, guys, because even to say it out loud, but I am like, I agree. It needs to happen.
Jesse, your point is fantastic because we've talked about it on this pod before. Don't be afraid to say that this team could make it to a Super Bowl, perhaps maybe should make it to a Super Bowl, or needs to get to the NFC Championship, or if they don't, the season's pretty disappointing, at least at this point. At the beginning of the year, I don't know if I would have said that. But when you're 9-2 after playing 11 games, yeah, I think you kind of need to get to the NFC Championship game. But don't forget, KOC and Quasey are here because the Wilfs didn't want to punt and go I'm escaping on Thor, help me out, Chicago Bears GM guy.
Oh, Pace, Ryan Pace.
Yeah, the Vikings did not want to go the Ryan Pace route. They did not want to tear it down to build it back up. Yep. They said, no, we want to be competitive right now, and we think we're in win now mode. That's why these guys are here. So the goal shouldn't be, just be a cute little 2 seed that maybe beats somebody in the wild card round and then gets dispatched of in the divisional round. No, these guys are here because they're supposed to win now with what's on the roster. So do it. Get to the NFC Championship game. I'd actually like you to win it, but I'm not even calling for that here. I'm just saying it would be disappointing if you don't at least get there. That is my hot take.
Hot takes.
Hot takes.
Speaking of hot takes, let's go to Thor's hammers.
Yes.
Oh, love me some Thor's hammers.
Thor's hammers.
Just to recap, Jesse is winning Thor's hammers.
No, we don't need to recap.
Yep. Oh, there it is.
Wait,
God,
I was just going to go right into the categories.
Yeah, no, I know you were. Let's just remind the people.
I do want to let everybody know, and I'll show this one more time.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
I'm here to help you guys along. Nobody should take anything that I say seriously, especially looking at that 360 winning percentage. So when I talk, just don't listen.
Jesse's been dominating all year in Thor's hammers,
yeah,
so we'll see upsetting. If she can. Yeah, every single week. Well, but we'll see if she can continue. Okay, so we're going to begin with Justin Jefferson, who we talked about on this episode plenty, and all the other ones. Justin Jefferson over under 84.5 receiving yards against the Jets, and Mr. Sauce Gardner. Jesse, will begin with you.
Over.
Oh, quick one. Okay. Ross?
So unbeknownst to you guys, I was watching a Seinfeld episode last night at random, and it was
before or after Dateline?
It was actually after Price is Right on the Roku channel. And the episode that I was watching was where George realizes if every instinct he has is wrong, then the opposite has to be right.
Classic.
Okay? So I'm going to deploy that here. I need to be chasing Jesse. But I can't really chase Jessie by stealing what she says. The only way to chase Jessie this late in the game is to do the exact opposite of what Jessie says, whether I believe it or not. So I don't believe for 1 second Justin Jefferson is going less than 84 yards. But I will say, yes, he will go less than 84 yards because I'm chasing Jessie, and at this point, I don't care how bad the win percentage is. I got to make some strategic changes here. So I'm going to do the opposite of Jesse every time today.
I gave myself a pep talk too with regards to this, and with me, it's the thing of you got to keep the blinders on. You know, we're just looking ahead of us. We can't be concerned about what Jesse's doing over there and the taunting that she's giving us.
Easy to say when you're. I mean, you're not technically in the middle. I mean, you are in the middle, Thor, but you're only a few ahead of me.
The crown, boys.
It's you and me are close, and that Jesse's way above us. I feel like we're in the same neighborhood.
That could be applicable to so many things, guys.
But
Let's be honest.
At this point, Thor, though, even though I technically, to get to Jesse, I need to pass you.
Yeah.
I mean, we're basically in the same spot, so I'm attacking Jesse.
Yeah,
okay. Well, yes, that's the correct take. I'm going to go over on that one though, on the Jefferson. The next one, Delvin Cook rushing yards. I was kind of surprised by this number. It's only 69.5. Jesse, over or under?
Nice.
Under.
Under. Okay.
Oh, I'll take the over. Great.
There you go. Throwing you a bone, Ross.
I'm going to fade Jesse too and go over on that one.
We're coming for you, Pierce.
Whatever, peasants.
This one, I wanted to do one of the opponent ones, and I thought this one is kind of fun because all the Jets, if you listen to the Jets podcast or the Jets radio like this week, they're all going nuts about, Mike White. And Mike White threw for 325 yards on 12 yards per completion and all this different stuff. They don't add any of the other context, but then they naturally extrapolate it to he's about to rip up the Vikings and the Jets are about to go in there and take care of the Vikings pretty easily. Mike White passing yards has been set at 241.5. Jesse, over or under?
Under.
Dang it. I'll begrudgingly take the over.
I'm going under. Ed Donatel, you got to show up for us, and you shut down Mike White. Last two here. Vikings are only -3 at home against the Jets on Sunday. Jesse, who you got?
I'll take the Vikings.
Okay. Ross. Now you got a tough one.
I'm actually going to deviate once here because I think I have to based off of what I've said. So, yeah, the Vikings are going to cover that easily.
Yeah.
Vikings are definitely covering. This is the double-digit win, Ross. This is the one. And then the last one of the day, over-under, we always end with. Over-under for the Vikings-Jets game, 44.5. Jesse, over or under?
Over.
Okay.
I want to see them go Dallas Cowboys on the Jets. I swear. I think that's feasible.
I'm going to go under, and I actually believe in this one. So thank you for taking the over.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go under as well, mostly spurred on by the Jets getting very little points, I think is where I'm seeing this one.
Jets, Jets.
Man.
You want to do some comments from YouTube?
Let's do it.
Let's knock them out.
Okay, well, maybe I'll get my buttons right over here. Here we go.
Comments from YouTube.
I got a few for you today. They're pretty lighthearted in nature. From Rich Deschamps. I think it might be French. I don't know. Fragile. It is the season. If they win a Super Bowl, I'll get Cousins with chains tatted on my left cheek. Not kidding. Question for you two. I'm not answering this one.
Wait, is this your question or the?
No, this is off of Rich Deschamps or Deschamps comment about getting ink on his left cheek if the Vikings win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If the Vikings win the ship, you guys getting some ink?
Oh.
I would feel like too much of a poser. I haven't been as indoctrined into the Vikings as others. Otherwise, I would. I love me some tats. I've got 3 myself. Would like to get more, but I feel like I need to reserve that first sports one for my hockey boys. I gotta wait until a Stanley Cup's one, something small, but otherwise I would. I support the ink. I support it all. I just would feel people would be like, "Oh, you must be a huge Vikings fan." I was like, "Yep, for a little while I have been." So being honest with it. Thor, you getting? I can see a face tattoo maybe at some point.
I can see a big old neck tattoo from Thor.
Oh, you think?
Skull.
Yeah, maybe a face one, but yeah, we'll have to see how we go with that. But yeah, the fella, he reminds me of Henry Winkler and Waterboy when Mama told him not to get the Roy Orbison tattoo, but what Mama don't know won't hurt her. And maybe I'll get the Viking one, and maybe I'll get an accompanying one on my left cheek too.
And just another shout out to that gentleman who came to our live show at the
Yes!
Minnesota State Fair.
I was thinking about this gentleman when the question popped up.
Yes, who has a tattoo of the Vikings on his chest or his stomach?
It was all over his abdomen, basically.
The whole space.
And then this same gentleman who made the conscious decision to get a gigantic Vikings tattoo on his abdomen and stomach also then told us, the Vikings are going to go 7-10.
What a bad take by that guy.
Yeah. Bad take by stomach tattoo guy. Cooney asks, why does it feel like Jesse secretly is a Packers fan?
Yeah, that's a good
LOL.
take. Good take.
There was
Defend
something
yourself,
else.
Pierce. Defend yourself.
There was something that came up today, and I was like, I know people think I'm a Packers. I really am not. I swear, like I said, I like cheese and I like beer. That's about the as close as I can get. But yeah, I got nothing. I'm not. I swear.
We'll launch an internal investigation so the listeners out there feel comfortable with that.
I love that you said that, Thor, because I was about to say the exact same thing. I think an internal review will be happening, and the social medias will be scoured.
I'll provide all my paper. I mean, I have thrown rocks at Wisconsin, if you guys recall.
This is what a closet Packer fan would say, Jesse.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I want you to think. Yeah, exactly.
Let's close with this. Are you ready? Yeah. This being
time now for the Before We Die crew to give us their Before We Dies.
So I think I have the best one ever, so I'm going to start with it.
Chipotle is pretty hard to beat.
Actually, no, I take that back. Best one that I've ever had. Nothing can beat the Chipotle take. Man, I'm still getting Twitter notifications about your Chipotle take that I got looped in on, Thor. I got so like the Jets, obviously they have some song and it closes with the Jets, Jets, yada, yada, yada. By the way, did Fireman Ed finally disappear? That was the most annoying guy on the face of the earth.
Oh, yeah. That guy is annoying.
Okay.
I hope so. I don't know.
Think he might be gone.
I mean, not from the earth. I just want him gone.
Well, yeah, exactly. I don't want him dead or I don't want him sick or hurt. Yeah, no.
Just to clarify.
No, Fireman Ed, I hope you're okay. You're just a really annoying fan.
Yes.
Jesse, when the Wild score, what song are we using now when the Wild score?
Shout.
Are we back? Yeah, which is awful, by the way. They need to mix that up.
I mean, my favorite was what
was the original one when we would just go
crowd chant? Loved it. I love it. Crowd chant, and then they did Prince for a bit, which I think is probably appropriate. It's cliche.
Yeah,
why don't they do the Rick Vaughn Wild thing? It's a perfect tie-in. They're the name.
Does that get you amped? Does that make you feel like you scored a goal?
Did you ever see when Rick Vaughn was running in from the bullpen?
Oh, when he came back out.
He
had that fresh haircut and the specs.
They started playing Wild thing. People started losing their mind in that stadium. That's what we got to do when we score the goals. Jesse, you can pass that along. That one's free, Wild.
I'll take that to Billy G. Let him know that you guys have thoughts. And
you do that.
Here's what I got for you guys. For all the Paul McCartney and Wings fans, from now on, before I die. Exactly. This one's for all the Wings fans and my best Paul McCartney. When the Jets score touchdowns at home, they should be playing Paul McCartney and Wings Jet. Woo, woo, Jet.
Oh, yeah. I
mean, it's not Jets, but you know what? It would be a good use of the song.
Sure.
Somebody else take it away, and I'll turn my mic off for the rest of the show.
I feel so bad. He was so excited. We're like, That was.
Well, I don't know.
I can almost remember their funny faces.
I don't either.
I still don't know that song. I just don't know it.
All right. Thor, please save us with something else.
Well, actually, it's funny Ross brought up the Chipotle thing because I actually have an update.
Stop.
Well,
did Mr. Chipotle personally reach out to you?
It's like maybe it's a precursor to the final episode, the final chapter. Before I die, I'm getting those Chipotle points back. I taught my uncle had seen the part about the Chipotle thing, and he did a deep dive into their terms of service, and he has given me the entire playbook of how I'm going to go about getting them Chipotle points. I start this week. And I'm going after my Chipotle points, and I'm going to get them back. And I will update you guys once we do.
By the way, if the terms of service, just a quick shout out to anybody who has the Netflix machine, which I think is 90% of the population. Along the lines of what you just talked about, Thor, there's a Netflix
Pepsi one?
documentary. Yeah, Pepsi,
Yeah.
Where's My Jet? Fantastic.
awesome.
Yes, I watched that.
That's so good.
That was so good. Brought back some great nostalgia, and I did legitimately remember the commercial. Didn't ever know there was a controversy, but I do remember the commercial.
Who
we
thought
can't
that was
give a
real?
spoiler alert
Who thought
for
they were going to buy a jet with shit? That's so good.
You know what though? If you
Still
don't
out.
put it in the fine print, it's your fault.
I mean, that is advertising 101, ladies and gentlemen. Like, there was no fight. Like, come on now.
That judge was crooked. That judge was crooked.
Oh,
Before I
gosh.
die, I'm gonna get her thrown off the
Big-
appellate courts or whatever you do. I got a
Big
person for that.
Pepsi.
We'll do it.
Big Pepsi.
Thor's
That's whose
just
pocket
taking
she
down all
was
the
in.
big dogs.
Yeah,
Just
that
to take
lady
us
is
home.
Maybe talk to Elon too for me after that.
Crazy.
Just see what's going on there.
gonna get me fired up again about that Pepsi guy. Give him his jet.
Before we die, people are going to recognize that I am the same person in Bar Down Beauties and vice versa. 3 times this week, I have people finally make that connection. Like, wait, and I was called a lady, which I don't appreciate. I am not lady material, first of all, in a number of ways. But they're like, hey, that's the same lady that's in the Bar Down Beauty. She's also on Score North and vice versa. And it is me. It's the same. I'm probably never this dressed up for the Buttes. But
No, you made Thor and I mean, I never look good, I'll be honest. I'm short, dumpy, slightly overweight, bad hair. You know, everything I wear came from a discount outlet.
Yeah.
But, you know, you certainly made me look even worse, and I'm not
that's
happy
why
about that.
I mean game days, baby. This is the game day look. I tend to do a little bit more.
This only requires a 2/3 vote, and I think I have Thor's approval.
Yeah.
Thor, what if we now start referring to Jesse Pierce as Lady Jesse Pierce?
God.
If it will upset her, cosign.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
Whatever.
Motion
That
carries
just
2-1.
reinforces the fact that I am above you guys. You are below me. That's fine with me. I will take that route. I will take the high road, quite literally, the high throne.
Okay, Denny Green, get on that high road.
They are who we thought they were. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this week's Purple Dailies Before We Die on Score North. I'm Jesse Pierce. He's Thor Nystrom. He's Ross Brendel. We thank you guys for joining us each and every Monday and Thursday to talk Minnesota Vikings. I believe Thor is frozen, but I'm just going to continue this wrap up here. Perfect. You guys are awesome. Don't forget to drop down your hottest Vikings takes. What you guys think of the episode. Thank you for giving us a shot. Thank you for enjoying and indulging in us as always. And he's unfrozen.
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
My internet literally just blipped out. Were you guys talking crap about me?
No.
Yeah,
Never.
you'll have to watch back to see how you froze. It was awesome.
It's again. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week. We will catch you on Monday. Go Vikings.
No skull baby,
Oh,
Thor?
you can hear us.
Skull Vikings.
There we go.
Skull Vikings.
Bye, guys.